and you are listening to MichMash, a place where I get to talk to the weird, wacky, wonderful people of this world, people I adore and want to know more about. Today, my guest is Robyn Rosenberger. She is the founder of TinySuperheros, a social enterprise that seeks to empower extraordinary kids one cape at a time. Hi, Robyn.
Hi, so good to meet you.
I am fascinated with what you do. I am fascinated with the thought. I love this. A cape, that it's that simple. A
It's like
cape,
so simple.
and kids have, their heroes. They see their heroes in their capes, and now you make them heroes. Talk about it. I love it. Where did you get this idea?
It's funny because so it is that simple and it is so complex
Well,
that
of
I
course.
can't
Yeah, no.
even
It's
no, not
yeah,
the even the business part. The emotional part is so complex, but I love it. It totally happened on accident. I'm definitely like an entrepreneur. Like I love to build things and I started
creative.
yeah, I had like a videography company along, like but this one wasn't what I thought I was doing. I'm from St. Louis, but we were living in Seattle at the time, and I had a wonderful job at a software company, with all of the perks you could ever possibly want in a job. And but I was pretty bored, I was pretty bored. And
Wow.
we had
At a kind of a big software company, I believe.
um no, well, it's
Oh, okay. I saw
mm,
Apple. I saw
got it.
I saw
I
that. Yeah.
wish. Oh man, I
Maybe you would have
was
been bored.
I maybe I wouldn't have been bored. True. I did work at the Apple store for a really long time, but
Gotcha.
this was a
Gotcha.
company that made Apple software. And anyway, we had one son at the time. So I have three boys. And
Okay.
so our oldest is 8 and Rory was 1 at this time. And my husband had bought me a sewing machine. Like I'm like crafty-ish, I'm like not Pinterest crafty, but I'm like, could I make that? Like I like to make things,
Gotcha.
but I had never used the sewing machine. I think I had made like one square blanket, but my nephew was having a birthday and I wanted to like make him, it's like so funny. I'm like, I must have had free time then. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, there is no way in the world I'm thinking about
That was
what
before
I'm
you
gonna
were an
make for my,
entrepreneur.
yeah, and before I had 3 kids probably.
That too.
But like I made him a birthday present. I mean, that is amazing, right? But I made him a superhero cape and he was 2. To be honest, he couldn't care less about the wonderful superhero cape I made him. But I was like,
This is
I'm
awesome.
onto something. This is amazing. Because they're not just like capes. They're like fleece and they're like blankets,
Right.
They look
Right.
like a cape and they're the size of a cape, but they're like a lovey.
Oh,
And so then I like started making them. I like was selling them on Etsy. I mean, if I sold 5, I mean, maybe I sold 5. I don't even know. But like I would like leave work at lunch and go like buy like a quarter of a yard of fabric to make the order, you know? And,
gotcha. Gotcha.
um and then so it's funny the moments that like burn in your brain. But I was rocking Rory, and so he was just 1. Yeah, he had like just turned 1. And scrolling Facebook, because I must have had time to do that as well at that time in my life.
And it wasn't
And
scary, maybe then.
yeah, maybe. And my husband went to school with someone who shared this story, and it was called Blessed by Brenna. And so when I learned of her story, she was already 1 year old. But Brenna was born the same year as my son, totally healthy pregnancy, second child, came out, and something was very, very wrong. And Brenna has a very severe skin disorder that is, there's about 2 dozen cases in the country. So it's
Oh,
very rare and very severe. And so when she was born, actually, no one knew what was going on. But that they were able to work through it. I mean, pretty miraculous that she made it through her first week, but because her skin grows like 8 times faster, but doesn't like shed itself.
Oh
So
my gosh.
in utero, that's what's happening, and it's like hardened, you know. And I was like so blown away. Courtney is her mom. She's like written books now and she's like wonderful. But like I was so blown away that in these moments she's writing about where like it's like, is she gonna survive the night? Like gratitude is what came out of what she was writing. And I was just like, I just I mean, I hope that in that situation that's how I would sound, but I'm not sure it is, you know? I
It's
just
difficult to dig to that deep to get to where you're
yeah.
like, I am thankful for this experience and what I'm going to
Oh my
learn
gosh.
from it. That usually comes after you've
Totally.
had anger and oh my gosh, I'm pissed off.
Totally.
you know,
Totally.
yeah,
And I was like, Brenna needs a cape. you know? Like
yeah,
that was the moment. I was rocking in the rocking chair and I was like, Brenna needs a cape. So I reached out and I was like, you don't know me, but I'd love to send Brenna and her brother Connor a cape. Would that be okay? And send him a cape. And and suddenly that became way more meaningful than selling capes on Etsy.
yeah. Well, yeah, I get it.
Especially when you're not actually selling capes on Etsy.
Gotcha.
And um I like was like, you know what? They need awareness built for what she has because so many people are fighting things. And if no one knows what they are, then there's no money going for research and there's no, you
Right. If
know,
only a couple dozen people have something, there's not going to be a lot of money put into it.
yeah.
You
And I'm
know.
like, I have a big family who reads my stuff that I write. And so I should like write about harlequin ichthyosis and share it. And I was like, you know, it will, why not? So I made like tinysuperheros.blogspot.com and I wrote Brenna's story. And that was like, that was it for me. It was like, this is so fun, you know, like
Right.
what amazing people I'm getting to meet. So I started just like finding people on Facebook, like kids' Facebook pages whose parents were like obviously open about sharing their story. And I would reach out and I would send them a cape. And that is just like how it started, you
And
know?
you started this in Seattle where you were living, and then you came back to St. Louis. We do that.
I
I
was like,
try to move away.
I'm never coming back to St. Louis. I would, and I'm like, I would obviously never live in Kirkwood again. I'm like 1 mile from my mom.
There you go. But
I
why
mean,
did you come back? Did
I
you
made it
just,
all the way to the other side, you know?
yeah?
Um, the first kid, my husband and I were like, we've got this. This is awesome. We love this. We love Seattle. I
Yeah,
actually have
Seattle's
Seattle in the
awesome.
background.
I
Yeah.
know. I love Seattle
Um,
too. It's great.
and then we had our second kid, and we're like, this is what happened. We came back for a little summer like vacation. Suddenly, all your vacations are in St. Louis, which is like, this is interesting. And we were here for 2 weeks, and it was too long. And I decided on that trip, I'm pretty decisive, you know. I was
Right.
like, Joe, this is what we're going to be doing for the rest of our life if we want our kids to know their family, or we have to move back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm never doing this again. So I guess we're moving back.
So
And we
back to
moved
St.
back.
Louis, and you brought Tiny Superheroes back to St. Louis, but
Yeah. Do you know what's so cool?
it's gotten really big.
It has grown. The coolest thing that I think is out of all the things that we're going to change in our life about moving to St. Louis, or out of all the things that would be affected by moving to St. Louis, the one that I thought would not be affected was Tiny Superheroes. If anything, I think I was like, Seattle sounds like a much better place for something like that.
Gotcha.
And I was so wrong.
Yeah, we're like entrepreneur central in
I
St.
had
Louis.
no idea. I
Yeah.
had no idea. And it
Yeah.
changed I mean, it was the thing that was other than being by family, the thing that was blessed the most by the move was TinySuperheros.
So what does it look like now? What does TinySuperheros look like? I mean, it's a big organization at this point.
Yeah,
Word is out.
yeah,
I'm gonna guess people now find you. You don't
yeah,
have to go find people.
true.
And
We
so
get
how
actually
does
like
it look
over
now?
100 new kids nominated a day.
And who makes all
So
the
now,
capes?
so um, after I started sending those first initial capes, so I'd probably sent a couple dozen, one of those first kids, his name's Isaac, he lives in DC. He was just a kid I found on Facebook and I sent him a cape. It's so funny. At that point I let them pick their favorite color and his favorite color is brown. So I made him a brown cape. And
That's an
he had
unusual color choice for a child. I love it though.
and he had a family friend that wrote for today.com who just like saw his cape and reached out to me. And so I had sent Brenna's cape in January of 2013. And in April of 2013, they did a story on today.com. And quickly, by October, we were on to the Today Show. And quickly, I was no longer able to make all the capes at my kitchen table, which is where I was making them.
Right.
So at the time, I found a family in Seattle, and they started making all of them. It was such an amazing relationship. It didn't translate well across the country for like several different reasons. So now we have the capes manufactured, and then we have a full-time seamstress who there's like some goals that kids can meet to have their cape personalized with their first initial.
Gotcha.
So she's personalizing them. But now everyone's like, how many people work there? And I'm like, I should know that answer like really easily. But like, it's just not that simple. But like, I'll say 7 people work there daily.
Gotcha.
And then lots of people are in and out. And I'm like, am I paying you? Like, are you okay? You're volunteering or am I paying you? What are you doing?
Who are you? Are you
In like the best way. But that's kind of how it is. It's kind of like we call it our headquarters, and it's a building in Webster. It's our secret lair. We never change the sign, so nobody knows we're in there.
Gotcha.
I kind of did that on purpose because I'm like, we're busy, we already get enough visitors. We don't need people walking in. We need to be working. So it looks like we're a financial group.
Oh, I see. But you're
And
making capes. I
yeah,
love it. And you must touch. I mean, I gotta think that by now you know about a lot of different diseases.
I feel like literally, I feel very well versed. It's so fun. I feel like I know what I'm talking about,
Right. I
which
mean,
is crazy.
bodies do weird things,
I mean,
and I mean, it never ceases to amaze me when someone shows up with something and they're telling me, "Oh, this is one of the issues I'm dealing with." I'm like, "I've never heard of this.
no.
This
So
is
it's so fascinating. When I started, I immediately was like, yeah, like kids get cancer and kids have Down syndrome. And my mom was a special education teacher. So like I was vaguely familiar that things are not always the same for people.
right."
Kids have autism. I had no idea that the majority are battling things we don't know about.
Yeah.
Even the kids with Down syndrome, in my mind, you have Down syndrome. I had no idea that you have a very high likelihood of getting leukemia on top of it, or if you're born with Down syndrome, you're very likely to be born with a heart defect. Like, I was like,
I
how
didn't
did
know
I
that
not know that?
either.
No, but it's like profoundly, it's that's normal. And it's really, really amazing. You start to learn quickly about how much people have to edit their story in order for people to understand them, you
I
know?
get that. No,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, it's one of those things where if you're not living it, right? And I mean, and some people have a really hard time empathizing and understanding, like, you know how it is, right? You're going through something and then you get the people that say stuff. You're like, that was kind of a stupid thing to say to me, but okay, let me help you rephrase that one. But but then
My,
other people just
yeah,
really listen, and you're one of those people that listen, right? That you're
yeah,
like listening to their story, empathizing with their story, and interested enough to take the time to understand, what is this like? What are you going through? What are the challenges around all of this?
yeah. And I think having kids, well, one of the coolest parts about Tiny Superheroes is that it happened to me when I had little kids. Now, often I'm like, man, if I was 25 with no kids, I could really blow this away. But but in reality, um, it instantly changed motherhood for me because um, in a very clear way, we have very clear standards of what is successful and what is good and what is normal. And it is impossible, I think, without perspective to want anything else for your kids than what society thinks is good because you want your kid to succeed. And so if
Right.
so you have to use those standards. And quickly I was given a lot of perspective, and it's almost like I don't care about any of that.
Well, it is interesting. I think that when you go through or you watch other people go through really difficult things, that you get to a place where you understand how not important some of that stuff really is. And what's really important is, you know, I feel like you're the steward. You've been granted stewardship of these human beings in your life, but you really shouldn't be dictating what they should turn out to be. You
Totally.
instead should be watching them and understanding who they are at their very core, and then helping them to really become who they are.
Yeah.
And that to me feels like a much better way to parent than, oh, I don't want you to be that. No,
Yeah.
that's against our thoughts.
Yeah.
So let's change that. The kid's like,
Or like
you kind of
we better
can't,
get yeah, or like we better get you playing 4 sports right now if you want a chance. You're 5. If you want a chance of playing in college, we
right.
better
We
start
better
right
start,
now.
and
Yeah.
you got to be great at it. And even if you don't have that talent, we're gonna force
We're
it
gonna make it.
upon you.
Yeah.
No, so yeah, I mean, I gotta think it's healthier for
Yeah.
everyone to
I mean,
just.
it's happier. It's
It
so
is
much.
happier,
Oh my
yes,
gosh. Oh,
and not
that's my
to.
dog.
Hi,
Come
puppy.
here.
Yes, mine's around here, but being quiet.
They're quiet. Mine's
So, this is
she's usually
podcasting in place.
yeah.
What's your dog's name?
Well, it's funny. Her name is Puddles,
Oh,
but she's also the mascot of Tiny Superheroes Patches program. So her name is also Patches.
ah,
Her secret alias is Patches.
gotcha. Patches is really. Puddles isn't Puddles because she makes puddles, is it? I hope not.
No, it's funny. In retrospect, bad name choice. But we come here. Come here. Do you want to say hi? Come here. She
Puddles,
we
say
were
hi
we
to
got
us.
her in Seattle, and it like rains all the time there. It
Yeah,
doesn't actually rain
I
all the
know
time
it
there, but
doesn't. Yeah,
yeah.
people think that
But
though. That's
yeah.
its reputation.
Here she is.
Oh, you are cute.
Can you say
Hi,
hi?
Puddles.
Say hi, Mish.
Why am I doing this? I don't think dogs get screens.
She's like, you use me too much for your work, Mom.
I am tired. You need to. You got up the snacks. Snacks got to be better. I need paid. I need more pay.
Yeah.
So, what is the Patches program?
Okay, so I always knew that Tiny Superheroes wasn't actually about the cape. Like,
Right.
um, I always thought the cape was, first of all, from the beginning. I never imagined the impact that a cape could actually have. Like, blows me away. To this day, blows me away. Like,
Love it.
how can a kid go from crying every single time he went for a blood draw, which was often, like
Aw.
crying, have to hold him down, to getting a cape and literally walking into the office? Like, I don't even understand that, but it's true. It
Dang,
happens.
I mean, it just feels like it's confidence and self. I need a cape.
Yeah,
I
you
just
do
need a
need a
cape.
cape.
I need to
Yeah,
start wearing a cape for the podcast. I just need
like
to have one to walk around with.
psychologically, wearing one changes how you feel about yourself. You know,
Mhm.
it's fascinating. But I knew that the cape wasn't actually solving the problem that I saw.
Right.
So the problem is complex, and the cape is an important part of the problem, which is that I feel a responsibility to help these kids grow self-esteem right away, like to know themselves, like where typical people don't learn themselves till they're like in their 30s and
Right.
start to actually like themselves until they're like in their 30s. These kids need to have that from the beginning to
Right.
make it through this world, you know? And so for me, it's like, okay, the cape is super important because I'm telling you you're a superhero and we're going to work on that. But
I love it.
the problem isn't the kid. The problem is like the world, you know? The problem isn't that like Ryker, who's one of my good friends, who is a double amputee, who started walking on two prosthetic legs when he was 1 year old.
Oh my
He's
gosh.
5 now. The problem isn't Ryker not having self-esteem, which is super important, and I like fully put effort into that. But the problem is like Ryker going to school and adults and children treating him differently. Like, that's the
Right.
problem.
Right.
And Riker's also missing his middle finger, which is a really interesting thing because it's not just gone, right? There's like a lot going on there to make you have a middle finger. So it's like his hand is like divided.
Okay, gotcha.
And so even if double prosthetics were something that were acceptable, which they're not, but even if we were really good at that, we aren't good at your hands being different.
Right.
And so the problem isn't Riker. The problem is that like Riker and his mom, who is amazing, and this is like Riker's mom is so amazing. His dad is so amazing too. But like when you have a child who is facing life-threatening challenges, even if they're not life-threatening challenges, if you are dealing with medical complexities with a child, you do not have the energy to change the world. You know what I mean?
No, it's so true though. I mean,
So
it
it's like,
is it's very cuz I'll share my story at some point with you, but it
yeah,
is when you're dealing with something so challenging, and I would have people go, "You should start a support group about this." I'm like, "Oh my god, I don't have the energy for. I'm I'm lucky I get up in the morning and I can open
totally.
my eyes and walk around. I do not have time for a support group."
Like,
you know?
if there was one, I would love to be part of it. I can't
Yes,
start it.
but I can't start it. I can't run it.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
like
yeah,
pouring a cup of coffee is difficult, and I need to do
totally.
that for sure every day. It's just
Keeping
and so
keeping the
yes,
child alive is all I can do.
all yeah, it
Hmm.
takes up all of your energy, and
Hmm.
you're as a parent, it's it's like the most important thing.
Hmm.
It is the
Yeah.
only thing. And you can get hyper focused on just this because nothing else matters right now. It's my kid.
Hmm.
I got to figure this out.
Hmm.
Yeah. Mm,
So
mm.
like, but here's this is my analogy that really helps me, and I think it helps other people too. Okay. I have, I think I'm a kind person. I, my mom has worked with people with special needs her entire life. So I've even been around that my whole life. I didn't know that that was like ingrained in me, but like now it's like, oh, well, duh. But like I didn't realize that till much later. But
Right.
okay, so I have like exposure that most people don't have. I have like a kindness to start. But if I was in the grocery store walking down the cereal aisle with my crazy children, which isn't a thing anymore. Children don't go to the grocery store, but we used to
Right.
take our kids
Right.
to the
Right.
grocery store
Yes.
every time. It's crazy. Um, and I think of my tiny superhero Fletcher. Fletcher is amazing. I can't even tell you how much I love Fletcher. His body is literally completely covered in like I don't know the proper word, but like what we would think of as like warts, like
Oh,
very large warts everywhere. I mean,
right.
there's not any spot that doesn't have one. Okay, so Fletcher looks super different than my boys, you know?
Right.
Okay, so if we're going down the cereal aisle and Fletcher is in his wheelchair in the same aisle, as a mom and a person, even someone who runs Tiny Superheroes, I would have been terrified that my kids would have said something that would have hurt Fletcher's feelings.
Yeah.
So
I can see
rather
that.
than risk that, I turn around and go down a different aisle, right?
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
And what I never knew is that what that teaches kids is huge. It's like we avoid people
Yeah.
different than us.
Avoid it. Let's not talk about it. Let's just
Don't
pretend
talk
like they're
about it.
not
In fact,
there.
if you talk about something, I'm gonna say shh, you know, like I'm gonna shush it. Like
Right.
don't talk about it and don't engage, like
Right.
walk away.
Don't talk to them. They probably don't want us
And
to talk to them.
and as the
Yeah.
mom, I think I'm being kind. I think I'm sparing Fletcher's feelings,
Right.
which is obviously not what I'm doing.
This is an awesome lesson.
Yeah,
This is an amazing lesson
but it's
because
true for
it's that
everyone.
whole
I mean,
people want to be seen and
yeah,
people want to be acknowledged.
yeah,
And no matter your age, you know what I
yeah,
mean? And so even if a kid like and we do it, you're at the grocery store, you see a cute kid, you're like, "Hi, how are you?"
yeah,
Right?
right.
Fletcher wants that too.
100%. Yeah.
And then what is it
And
for
Fletcher's
kids when
mom
they see
wants
you
that too.
interacting, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then your kids see you interacting, acknowledging this is a human being in front of us that may not look like other human beings, but a human being.
And that it's kind of awesome that he doesn't look like other human beings. And let's learn about him. Do you know what's amazing? Okay, my kids are awesome. They are not perfect. Like in
Well,
no way
none of
I
us
mean they have
are.
too much screen time. I mean, like we are surviving, you know?
Yeah,
Like I want to
gotcha.
be clear, we're
Right.
surviving.
Gotcha.
But they've grown up around this kind of talking, and it's not like we have lessons, right? They just like watch, just like all of our
Yeah.
kids just watch us.
Yeah.
I the one of the proudest things about my kids that they did on their own is when my kids see somebody different. It could be an 80-year-old with a walker. It could be a baby with braces on their feet. Everything in between. The very first thing that both of my kids who are old enough to conceptualize this say is like, are they a tiny superhero squad? Like,
Oh,
do they have a cape? Like the first thought they have is of that person as a superhero.
right. Right.
And like, what if people's first thought was positive? I
Oh
mean,
my God. I love that.
it's so simple, but it's like it changes your whole mind is coming from a totally different place than what's wrong with him.
Right.
Like their first thought is like, is he a superhero yet? You know, like, mom, did you give him a cape
So
yet?
let's have that first thought for everybody, right? I
That's
mean,
my
that's
goal.
that's the
That's my
thought.
goal.
Oh my God. I love it. That's a good mission.
Also, also bringing the cape back in, if Fletcher's wheelchair has his cape hanging on it, for anyone walking down the aisle, it is an immediate thing you can say, I love your cape.
There you go.
If you don't know what to
Exactly.
say or how to do this, because it's hard. Like we don't know how to do this,
Sure,
you know?
it's hard, but that can open up dialogue. simple way to open
Simple.
dialogue.
Yeah. So you asked me about the
Robin.
patches program.
Yeah. Oh, let's talk about patches, and then I've got questions.
So I wanted to, I didn't want to give these kids a cape and walk away,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And I know how much negative is coming at these kids every single day. I mean, everywhere they go, you know? And I was like, if we're going to change the way they think about themselves, we have to be louder than all of that negative. So that's a lot of work, but we'll start by trying to be in their mailbox every month. And so the patches program is every month they have the opportunity to do a mission with us, and they unlock a superpower and earn a patch for their cape. Like
Oh,
80% of these
cool.
families don't participate in extracurricular activities. So my son plays kindergarten soccer and brings home a trophy. They're not doing that.
No trophy.
They're not doing
Right.
that.
Yeah. No.
So now their capes are filling up with patches as they learn about themselves through these like character building activities that we plan. And this month's superpower is calmness. So we're doing calmness activities with them to learn how to like be calm. Anyway, it's like it was the first route that I could find to be like, no, they're part of my squad. So like, I mean, we're in this together now. So like,
I love it.
that's what the patches program is. Yeah.
Good job, ma'am.
Oh,
Good
thank
job.
you. It's
Good job. This is so great. I mean, I just love everything about it's amazing to me that this started with this cape and it's grown into this very um I mean this is well thought out. This is mission based. This is
yeah,
we are going to change the way people
it's also
think in a
super messy.
positive way. Well, of
Super
course,
messy.
but yes, it can be messy. So I got to talk with Maggie, who works with you, Maggie Pike,
hmm
yesterday, and
We
so
I
I got
couldn't
some.
couldn't adore her more. Like
She's
couldn't adore her more.
crazy adorable and amazing.
hmm
And I was like, Maggie, I usually don't get to like, usually kind of stalk people a little bit before they're, I'm like, but now I can get intel from you. And so she gave me intel so I could
Oh
come up.
boy.
So I have
Oh
some
boy.
fun. Oh, here we go. Are you ready? No, okay.
Uh-huh.
So, one of the things she told me and shared with me is that you have a sweet tooth. We share this. I'm a total,
Oh,
dessert candy.
for sure. I mean,
What's your
yeah.
favorite? Like, what is your favorite?
So in my third pregnancy, maybe all of a sudden I wanted cheesecake all of the time. And I don't need it all of the time now, but it is now like a staple for
Cheesecake's a
me.
thing.
Yeah.
Is there
But
is there
like,
anybody in St. Louis that makes a better cheesecake than another place?
I mean, have you had Hank's cheesecake?
I haven't.
Oh
Have you
my
had
gosh. It's
Missouri Baking Companies?
no, but I'll go
Ooh,
get it today if they're
well,
open.
I think they use almond flavoring in it rather
Oh,
than vanilla, and it's just so
I'm
mm,
gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out.
so good.
But I also like need to have candy available at all times.
As do I.
Yeah, I just need to have it available. I don't need
The,
to eat it all. I just
I
need it to be
actually eat
there.
mine, but the
Okay.
candy aisle is a place I stop in every
Well,
every visit to the grocery store. There
me
is
for
a
sure.
I have to
What
like
is your
stand in
favorite
front.
like candy?
That's
I mean, I
tough.
like them all, but
Let's see. I'm looking at my counter. I have dots. I have
oh,
gluten-free licorice, and I've
oh,
got Swedish fish, those
Swedish fish
Coca-Cola
is one of mine.
bottles, and the like Coca-Cola gummies,
Okay,
and then I
look at what
like
I have right here.
cherry gummies. Oh, there you go.
I mean,
Those are
we don't
three.
mess around. We don't mess around.
You do bulk candy shopping. I love it.
um, Swedish fish, but I mean, I also like love chocolate. You know,
Yes, me too. You gotta have
love
chocolate.
chocolate. Yeah,
I call it soul food. It
yeah.
makes me happy. Don't eat it with guilt. This is the thing.
Oh, I
Like
don't.
if you eat this with guilt, then you're putting negative energy in your body. So
Yeah,
instead we have to celebrate it, be joyful about it, be like,
I
"Oh my
love it.
gosh, this is so great that I get to eat these Swedish fish. Lucky me."
Lucky me. So, do you know what I feel about that more, even more than candy? But I love candy. And this is more controversial, but I love Dr. Pepper.
I heard that was going to be my next question.
Oh,
So we know what you're going to eat if you could eat it all the time. What are you going to
yeah.
drink if you
I
Dr.
mean,
Pepper? My
I
daughter
do. I
has a
just drink
Dr.
Dr.
Pepper
Pepper all the
thing.
time. Yeah.
It's just a thing.
It makes me happy. Like it literally makes me happy. And it's kind of like candy. I don't even necessarily need to drink it. I just need it to be around.
Just you can look at it and admire
But I
it.
don't drink coffee and I don't drink alcohol and I really don't enjoy drinking water. Like I'll try, but I really don't enjoy it.
I'm with
But
us. I drink coffee. I'm not an
okay.
alcohol. I don't drink alcohol. I don't drink. I really it's. I like coffee and
Yeah.
tea, but no, I'm not a big. I know. I don't like just regular water. I
No,
like
I
to
mean,
have it has to have flavors for me to
yeah,
like it.
yeah.
It's just a
Like
thing.
the only thing that's going to happen by me drinking this water is I'm going to have to go to the bathroom a lot.
Well,
Like
there's that. And
that's
thank
the
you for
only
sharing
thing
that
that's
with
going to
everyone.
happen. And that's very inconvenient. So,
So my other question I have for you is, let's talk about Kristen Bell.
oh, do you love her as much as I do?
I love Kristen Bell, but
Do you know
she was.
Maggie does not love her?
Why doesn't she love
I mean,
her?
I shouldn't say that out loud. Maggie
Maggie.
doesn't adore her like I do.
So tell me about your adoration for Kristen
Okay.
Bell.
So it started with Veronica Mars.
Okay.
Do you watch Veronica Mars?
I did not ever watch Veronica. I'm
Mish,
gonna have to because
you
they're
need
talking
to.
about how none of these we're not gonna have new TV to watch because of quarantine.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have
Okay.
to go visit the shows that we didn't catch the first time. So
I would
Veronica
really
Mars.
love to hear your opinion about Veronica Mars.
Okay.
But Veronica Mars is about a high school private detective. It sounds horrible, but even my husband thinks it's an amazing show.
All right.
And Kristen Bell is the private investigator. And I mean, I just want to be like her. I loved the bag she carried. She always had a camera with her. She's like school fine, but like I've got work to do.
I got
Like
detective work to do.
yeah. So I fell in love with her. I fell in love with Veronica Mars, you
All
know.
right.
But then you start to learn more about Kristen Bell and she is such an advocate for so many things. Then I started watching Parenthood. Did you watch that?
I don't. Oh
Okay,
my
you would love
gosh.
that too.
I would like make a list of
Yeah.
things.
So Dax Shepard is one of the actors in Parenthood, and I loved him. And then they got married. I was like, oh my gosh, my favorite people in the world. But Kristen Bell is just like in my elusive mind, because I don't actually know Kristen Bell,
Right.
is down to earth, you know?
Yeah.
And she's not fitting into all of the boxes that everyone is trying to put her in. And she's funny and she's smart and she cares about things. And I want her to be TinySuperheros ambassador.
We're gonna have to get that going. We're gonna have to
I just like love her. I love her. Yeah, that's it. I just love her.
What else has she been in though? I mean,
I mean, she was Anna in Frozen.
I didn't know
It's a
that.
pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, no, she's in she's been in a lot, but Forgetting Sarah Marshall was like a big movie she was in.
Okay.
Um
I remember that one.
and okay, what is the show? It's happening it's right now. It's about like afterlife.
The
Oh my
Good
gosh.
Place.
The Good Place.
Now
Yeah.
that one I love.
Okay, so
That
she's
one I love. That's right.
taking that.
She is in that. Okay.
Um and I mean she's in all sorts of things, but like those are like
The
off the
biggies.
top of my head the
I
big ones. But I
love it.
mean if she's in something, like I'm gonna watch it,
I love
you
that.
know.
Okay, so Kristen Bell, who I'm sure
Yeah.
listens to this podcast,
I obviously, like,
why
for sure.
wouldn't she?
Yeah.
We would like you to come to St. Louis. We'll treat
Yeah.
you well. And
Yeah.
Tiny
Do
Superheroes
you know what?
is
I'd be willing to go to California. Just putting that out there.
Actually,
Yeah.
that sounds good. I'll
Yeah.
fly out there, mask on.
Yeah.
We'll do
It'll
it.
be fine. Yeah.
Robin, thank you.
Oh
This
my
has been
gosh.
so much fun getting to know you. I love it.
I can't even thank you enough. It's so wonderful. I can't wait to keep talking.
I know. Okay, yes. Everyone out there, we are talking after this podcast. Sorry, that's not for you to be a part of.
Sorry.
No, not that we don't want you, just, All right. Well, Robin, thank you so much.
Thank
Everybody,
you.
Tiny Superheroes is everywhere. Just Google it. You will find her.
If you need a change of especially today, if you need a reset, it's impossible to go to our Facebook page or group and not get it.
and not
So
feel it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like don't be all gloomy, blah, gloomy, yucky today. Be like
No.
happy, joyful, and know amazing things are going on out there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
For everyone listening, you've been listening to MichMash. I hope that we see you next time. Love you. Bye.